Today on NerdOut, a potpourri of topics. Welcome back to NerdOut, the show where we take a look at Cardano and we break it down, but we don't dumb it down. Today we're talking about a whole lot of different topics. We'll be talking a little bit of governance, Moneta, Amaru, NEWM, and DripDropz updates. So without further ado, let's get into it. First, let's talk about governance. The Chang hard forks. There are two Chang hard forks. The first one we've been calling, well, is called Chang. The second one we've been calling Chang +1, but it will probably get a new name, potentially the Husky hard fork. So the first hard fork, how things work is we can only vote on info actions. Info actions are not enforceable on chain. It's more of just a temperature check of the community, but it does put something official on chain, and that's what the vote on the Husky hard fork naming is all about. So you can't do any treasury withdrawals at this time since we're past Chang. You can't update any of the protocol parameters or any of the guardrail parameters on those protocol parameters. And what this interim period gives us is it gives us time for the various DREPs to register on chain, gain delegation, get everything set up. So we have an interim constitutional committee in place right now. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then we have a second hard fork that will happen after the approval of a new constitution. And that's tentatively scheduled for early December down in Argentina is the Constitutional Convention. As of right now, I will not be going to that. I've attended two various constitutional workshops, and other better representatives have been elected to go and represent those communities down in Argentina. I went to one yesterday. It was amazing. It was hosted by Lloyd Duhan from GM Cardano, and he and his wife Melanie put on a great presentation. We had amazing community discussions. A lot of high-powered community people were there. We had Cash from the Anvil team. We had Big Pay. We had Quasar, who was I think elected one of our reps. Cash was also elected one of our reps from the Florida delegation. So it was a really good time. We had really deep discussions. We really dug into the constitutional topics. So let's talk a little bit about no confidence. I feel like there's a little bit of confusion about what this is or what this means, so let's talk about it a bit. The system in Cardano can either be in a state of normal, which is confidence, or it can be in a state of no confidence. A no confidence governance action, a vote, must happen in order to enter a state of no confidence. So DREPs can vote yes or no on this governance action. You can also set yourself up to be always in a no confidence state if you delegate to this no confidence DREP. So that is considered a yes vote automatically if there is ever a vote of no confidence. So it's kind of a set and forget it state. If you're just like, I hate Cardano, you can delegate to this special no confidence DREP. And when the system enters a no confidence state, a new constitutional committee must then be re-elected in order to re-enter a confidence state. And during this no confidence period, no other governance actions can happen. You can't do treasury withdrawals, you can't update protocol parameters, and anything that was in flight is automatically canceled. So there can't be, something go in flight and then still finish up and be executed on chain. So it basically is hold everything. If you're here in the United States, this is the equivalent of, 2/3 of the state voting for a constitutional convention, and at that point, everything's up for grabs. So that's what the no confidence state is. So I'm going to say something a little controversial here, but I'm just going to say it and run with it. So I think we should start things in a no confidence state. So let me explain. The current constitutional committee is made up of IOG, Emergo, Cardano Foundation, Intersect, and then three consortiums. So the Cardano Atlantic Council, the Cardano Japan, and the Eastern Cardano Council. These last three were elected via a summon platform vote, but it was a non-chain vote. These first four were just installed. They were automatically selected. So at the genesis of Cardano, three entities were just granted power: IOG, Emergo, and the CF. At Voltaire's genesis, it seems we have granted four entities power, with three of them having some level of a community mandate. So I feel like we should start things off well and ensure that all Constitutional Committee members have a valid community mandate, forcing them all to run for re-election before any Treasury withdrawals happen. Now, they could voluntarily choose to run for re-election at any time during after the first Constitution is approved, and that would, satisfy this requirement. We could vote to enter a no confidence state that would require all constitutional members to run for re-election. Alternatively, we could just get all DREPs to always vote no for anything like a Treasury withdrawal until the end of their natural term limit, when they would have to rerun for re-election anyway. And I believe that happens sometime between July and September. I'm not exactly sure on the dates in 2025 when all the term limits are up for those first four. But anyway, that's just my opinion. If you like it, great, discuss. If you don't like it, great, discuss. So what are some ways you could make that happen? You could share this video on social media saying you agree with this approach or disagree with this approach. You could delegate to a DREP and to stake pools who are committed to kind of starting the system in a valid community mandate. Everybody has a mandate to be in the positions they're at until a new CC is seated. So me personally, I will not be running as a DREP. That's just something I've personally chosen. Other stake pool operators are choosing to do that. I think that's fine. I think stake pool operators do take on additional risk if they're being in both positions, which is fine. It's a choice they can make. So the additional risk they're taking on is if somebody disagrees with them as a DREP, they may then also lose stake to their stake pool if the person disagrees strongly with them. Personally, I've chosen to support other DREPs that I believe in and trust, and I don't necessarily think that techie people need to be in the DREP position. So if you're someone that is politically inclined, you feel like you have a strong pulse on the Cardano community, I would encourage you to run as a DREP or set yourself up as a DREP and request delegation. You can also set yourself up as a direct voter, and that's another thing you can do. If you're an engaged person, set yourself up as a direct voter, stay engaged, vote on governance proposals. I also want to clarify that this is not an anti-Cardano or anti-founding entity opinion. This is just a vote to ensure that everybody has a community mandate to be in the positions they have. I would be perfectly thrilled if IOG, CF, Emergo, and Intersect all re-ran for their seats and they were all selected by the community. I feel like this is one of the most Cardano-y things we could do as a community. Moving on, other projects you may have heard. I recently took a position with Moneta. So Moneta, formerly called Mihin Finance. The company behind them is W3I Capital, and they are behind the USDM stablecoin project. I've joined their team as a part-time CTO, and they've already launched in the past USDM minting for institutions. And my stake pool company has already come on board as an institution and minted some early USDM to see how things work. And I'm currently, I think, providing liquidity on Sunday Swap with some of those USDM. So the next focus for me there will be picking up where the previous CTO left off and working on the retail minting of USDM. So there's quite a bit of work to do there, but we're making good progress picking up where the previous CTO left off. So a little bit about Moneta. How does it work? So USDM reserves are spread out over several banks, and institutions that are currently allowed to be in the system, they have KYB, know your business, and they deposit funds into these reserve bank accounts through wire transfers. And then on a 24-hour cadence, Charlie 3 validators have access to these reserve bank accounts. They look at these reserve bank accounts, they publish an on-chain Oracle feed that says, here is how much USD is in the USDM reserve bank accounts or in the reserve. Then, whenever the smart contract goes to mint USDM, it has to check this Oracle to ensure that no USDM are minted above the reserve level. So that's how that is all verified on chain, is the Charlie 3 Oracle validates, that there is 7.8 million USD in these bank accounts, and then the smart contract is allowed to mint up to that level to ensure that it never goes above that level. And so, like if I wanted to mint some USDM as an institution, I would do my deposit into their reserves, and then later that night they would run the minting process. The Oracle would already be updated. It would verify that yes, this USDM we're minting into my Cardano wallet would bring us up to, but not above, the reserve amount in the bank accounts. So that's how all that is securely verified. So where we're at with things, they just launched a new website. Check it out. It's moneta.global, and they are still currently in a crowdfunding phase. If you want to, there is no token, but if you want to invest in that company as an investor, you can do that through their crowdfunding raisers. Details on the website. I don't know the details of that, but you can check all that out, or find the team on Discord if you have additional questions. They're very open and transparent about everything they're doing. The next project I've been working on is called Amaru, and it's a project under Pragma. Pragma is another members-based organization, and it's got a very narrow focus, mostly around developers and open source software and tools for the Cardano blockchain. So the Aiken smart contract language will continue to be built and enhanced under Pragma. That's one of the first projects that was moved under Pragma. And I've joined the team as a part-time developer on the Amaru project. The Amaru is a Rust-based block producer node for Cardano. So it will run alongside, in the future, the Haskell version of the node. And the reason for that is many, but the most important one is node diversity. So I've said node diversity is kind of the final boss of decentralization. We have decentralization of the ADA token itself. It's spread over many, many holders. We have decentralization of block production over many, many stake pools, and that's happened since Shelley. And the final boss is kind of decentralization of the code that runs the network, so that there's pluses and minuses to having multiple nodes, but I feel like in the end it is better to have diversity of nodes, so that there's no one source of truth or no one entity controlling the entire code of Cardano. And this will force us to do a lot more interaction between this Rust team and the Haskell team moving forward as we build out new things and new features. It also allows us to kind of sandbox things and test out new things in maybe the Haskell code or the Rust node individually before we say this is definitely a good thing. Let's bring this to mainnet. So that's what that project is all about. The people running that are Matthias Bencourt. He is a technical director at the CF. He is also the founder of the Ogmios project that we all know and love. The other maintainer of the project is Santiago, I can't say his last name, but I'll try it, Carmuega, and he is the CEO at TX Pipe. So they've brought us a lot of the really cool TX Pipe tools, the Dolos node. They're working on a lot of neat stuff down there at TX Pipe in Argentina. So my first task, what have I been brought on to do? My job has been block validation, and this is like my wheelhouse. I'm really excited about this. I already know a lot about how block validation works from my work with the CNCLI tool and leader logs, and I'm going to be bringing a lot of that knowledge into the Amaru project. So my first task in the month of September was to figure out how to validate Cardano block headers. And validating a Cardano block is a multi-stepped process. So first is the VRF validation. Every stake pool has a VRF key, and that VRF key is registered on-chain with your stake pool at the beginning. And that is where the verifiable random function determines the slot lottery. And so this is the check that assures that a given pool is allowed to mint a block in a given slot. And so I will be validating all of those signatures. The second one, or the second major one, is KES key validation. So KES key is generated from the pool cold key. The KES key is like a hot key, and there's a counter inside of it that you have to rotate that key every so often. So I will be validating A, that the KES key signature is valid, and B, that the KES key counter is also valid and that the hotkey is not expired. So I'll be checking all the blocks in the chain to make sure that has happened. There's also a number of little checks that need to also happen. So things that make sure that the VRF key that we see in the block is the same VRF key that was registered to the pool back when it registered, or if it was ever updated along the way, make sure that that matches. Small stuff like that. So that's what I'm working on right now. So what's the status of it? I would say we're about 95% completed with certain pieces of it. So the hard part was updating the Palace Math library. Palace Math is a project under TX Pipe, but that will also get sucked into Amaru. And so I've been spending some time making that math library match exactly the math that the Haskell node does 100%. They use a fixed decimal math to do things like natural logs and other things. And it goes down to 34 decimal places. And this is the first time that I'm aware that any code has actually been able to match exactly what the Haskell node does. So this math library will be coming to CNCLI eventually. So your leader logs will match exactly what the Haskell node does. And the VRF validation right now, it's 95% completed, and we have validated that the numbers do match exactly. Up next is the KES key stuff. So I will be learning a lot because I've never done KES key validation before, but I'll be learning a lot to make sure that matches, and then we'll pretty much be done with block validation for the Amaru node. Next project, NEWM, updates on NEWM. NEWM mobile app is getting very close to launch. We have a few minor details to button up, things like making sure the terms of service, privacy policy, and the store listing, all the marketing information is being finished up. They'll probably soft launch that onto the store and then announce it a few weeks later. The next major project from NEWM is the marketplace, and that is in pre-prod internal testing. So the marketplace is different from the record store. The record store is focused on NFT collectibles. So artists mint their NFT collectibles over there. The marketplace is all about stream tokens. So stream tokens are those tokens where the artist is selling their royalty rights to the song. So when the song plays on Spotify, that song earns royalties from Spotify. We bring those royalties on chain and pay out those royalties to the stream token holders. The marketplace is where they can easily put up their stream tokens for sale to their fans or the wider community that want to support them as an artist. And how that'll work is we have built in a Charlie 3 Oracle feed to this for the NEWM/USD price. So it's kind of difficult if you have NEWM token that fluctuates in value a lot to know like what to sell your stream tokens for in NEWM. So what we've done is we're setting up this Oracle that will always have a USD price. It makes it easier for the artist to say, here's what I want to list these stream tokens for. Each bundle will cost, $5, $10 for, so many thousand of my stream tokens. And so that's easier for them to conceptualize. And then when those are listed on the marketplace, those transactions will settle in NEWM token. So the buyers will pay NEWM tokens, the artists will receive NEWM tokens, and then if they want to swap out or either direction, they can then do that. But that's all handled by integrating that Charlie 3 feed oracle with the NEWM smart contracts. So we've been working on upgrading those smart contracts to Plutus v3. We did find a little bug yesterday in Aiken related to traces that I believe has already been patched. That team is really on the ball. So we'll be moving forward with our Plutus v3 testing there for all of the NEWM smart contracts and marketplace. So if you do have a chance, please provide liquidity to NEWM ADA pairs and NEWM USD pairs. This is not financial advice, but hopefully the marketplace brings enough liquidity and trading back and forth into and out of NEWM tokens that providing liquidity should make it worth it for the liquidity providers. Again, not financial advice. If you are a musician, if you are an artist, now is the time to get your stream tokens minted, get them up on the streaming platforms so that you can be on the marketplace day one when that goes live. We want to make sure that we launch well. We want to make sure we launch with a lot of artists available for the community to see and select from. So go into NEWM Studio, mint your stream tokens, get those deployed to start Spotify, and get those started earning stream token royalties. And those can be songs that you have that are brand new, unique, have never been distributed, or those can be songs that you are redistributing and taking down off of other platforms like CD Baby, etc. DripDropz update. So DripDropz is the rewards layer for Cardano. We are really good at delivering token rewards to various projects. The focus at DripDropz right now is onboarding high-value partnerships. I can't talk about any of those yet as they haven't settled, but we are talking to a number of high-value projects, tokens that we're looking to bring on board at DripDropz. So keep an eye out for future Catalyst proposals and any partnership announcements from DripDropz or any partner teams there. Finally, I know this video has gone on way long, but I wanted to just give a special thanks to the Cardano community. They have supported me and my family for the past few years. It's had many ups and downs, but the community has always come through. So I don't say it often, thank you for delegating to Blue Cheese Pools. Thank you for dripping tokens at DripDropz. Thank you for supporting various Catalyst proposals over the years. Thank you for supporting Pragma, Amaru, TX Pipe, Aiken, Ogmios, all those teams I work with. And just thank you for supporting the many, many builders on Cardano. And with that, nerd out.